people can move here a bit to the front. Edikers, no? Yeah, he's tall, sorry. Yes, but super happy to be here. My name is Tanya. I'm co-founder of SaltoX. We are not yet there on the Wall of Fame, but we are getting there. Today, yes, thank you. If you have any questions what SaltoX is, you can go and ask Richard. He's over there. He's a tall one, so it's almost impossible not to see him. But basically, yes, we are building the solution that enables companies give their economic upside to contributors the fastest and easiest way possible. And together with me on the stage are amazing people. And before we proceed to them, I mean, I really want to applaud Katya and Dana from LIFT99 DAO, who came all the way from Berlin to do this event. And also want to applaud you because I know like it's much easier to sit down and just build product than go on stage and share the stories, which is still super important for the community. So big applause to everyone. Now I think I should give the microphone because we have only two and it would be a lot of juggling. But yes, would love to hear your introductions and so we can start.
Well, yeah, so my name is Miao. I'm co-founder of Superfluid Finance. So, what's the question?
I know, we're getting there. So, tell us about your company, about yourself, what you're building. Just small introductions.
Yeah, sure. So, Superfluid started 3 years ago. That we developed actually a prototype with my now co-founder, a solution on Ethereum where you can invest, where you can put DAI, if you know what is one type of stable coins, wrap it, and then you can redirect its interest to a different wallet. So there was like an interest redirection program. So it's like you can put your money into a piggy bank, then the interest generated from it go to another wallet. Then we thought about it. Then we kind of say, oh, why don't we generalize it? We make the continuous aspects of the money into a company. Now we call it Superfluid. The name Superfluid comes from the fact that it's a physics phenomenon where things are frictionlessly move around, like the atoms are frictionlessly move around. And we want the money also to be frictionlessly move around. And that's hence the name. So we started a company 2 years ago. We raised money from names like Balaji, maybe you have heard of, and Moody Coins, which are currently the leading investor, and many other people from Estonia even to helping us, people like Stan, Tamkivi, and so yeah, well, we raised money 2 years ago. And we have been developing products since. So the product is focusing on the frictionless money to enable the money move between accounts frictionlessly. So you can, the money literally can move every second from, or every block, if you will, from account to account, also allowing mass distribution. So from one account to any number of accounts frictionlessly. So our the secret sauce is that the money moves around frictionlessly and at a very low cost. So yeah, so that's our journey, and happy to have a more in-depth conversation today here. Very thankful for the organizers, and happy to see all the Web3 people here. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, hi everyone.
By the way, but do you hear us? Maybe we should speak without microphones in general, right? We have a streaming.
Maybe this. Okay. Yeah, my name is Dmitri. I'm the founder of StakeWise. Maybe I can start with just saying a couple of words about myself. So I have a technical background. First time I've started with crypto, actually learned about crypto was at the University of Tartu when I was doing my bachelor's in computer science. And I've got very excited about it, especially that time. I've got some problems with my bank, and the bank arrested my account. So yeah, I was looking for some great solution, and blockchain, or actually like Bitcoin at that time, I thought would be great to use. But later I went for my master's in security and mobile computing. That was like in Sweden and Finland. There I was already going more in depth into the cryptography. And then I was doing my master's in like related to blockchain as well. And I was working like as a full stack engineer, as a DevOps engineer for quite long as well. And I was thinking to build something myself. So, and I was thinking about crypto at that time, where I could actually combine all the knowledge I have, like in different computer science fields, into something that could become like a good product. So, and at that time I heard about Ethereum actually announcing their new release, which is like ETH2. You probably, some of you, or I don't know how many of you have heard that Ethereum is moving from proof of work to proof of stake. And yeah, at that time I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to become like a validator myself. That's something which we're gonna call miners from September, I guess. Like, I hope from September. At that time, to become a validator, you needed to have like 1,000 Ether, which was like quite a large amount, and I wanted to become one as well. So I thought to build that pooling system where people can pool their funds together to become validator and share the rewards proportionally to the value, to the amount of Ether they staked. And that's how actually StakeWise started. I was working on it just in stealth mode as a hobby project for around like 2 years because like Ethereum was developing slowly. I was following the ETH2 development, like was engaging with ETH2 clients, helping on the community side, and also at the same time building the project. And I think it was like 2019 it was 2020 when I already realized that the product becomes more mature and we need to get more focus on financial part of it. And that's when I brought in my co-founder, Kirill, and we started already preparing for the production release. So at that time, StakeWise was just pulling funds from the users, like the users who have less than, at that time it was already not 1,000 Ether, but 32 Ether, but still it was like quite a large amount. And I hope it will become even larger amount later on, like ETH grows in price. And yeah, I think like that was the main core product. Actually, that was Superfluid, Fran and Miao, who told us like, hey guys, you have to also look into the DeFi space. And we thought like, yeah, how can we build like a product without taking a chance of bringing something to the DeFi? So this is when we transitioned from just the pooling system to the liquid staking protocol, which means that you stake Ether, but you receive something back. You receive the token that keeps the interest, like grows in numbers while you hold it. And yeah, that's that part where you can actually go to some other DeFi project. You can utilize that token. You can increase your yield, and you can do much more fun stuff in DeFi with that. So yeah, we launched 2021 in March. As of now, we have like around 75,000 Ether staked at our platform. We also got like a seed. We went for the seed rounds. Then we had like one like more institutional round. So where we partnered with another large node operator, which is Blockdemon, and we started to work on a product that allows already like banks and institutional clients like funds to stake their Ether and participate in DeFi in more like compliant way. So that's how we actually, yeah, where we are right now, and we work on our next version as well, which brings more decentralization and you have to be bullish on SWICE, which is our token.
So just for the understanding of the audience, we had like a list of questions that we had to cover, and in the two answers they covered it all, so we don't have anything to talk about and we're done. But to be very honest, we really want to hear from you what's your take on future and what's your take on the present. But before we go there, I mean, you're actually like extremely young. The solution is extremely young. you're a bit more mature, but still. Yes. But still, we would really love to hear about your 2 biggest fuck-ups and your 2 biggest wins. Who wants to start first? I mean,
I think you have
wait, I
bigger
have the
fuck up, right?
microphone. I mean, maybe this is recorded, by the way.
Yeah, so so we did have a security breach a while ago, and luckily we recovered. And I think the solution we're building are very novel, and to me, I come from computer science background, and I care a lot about the correctness in the program. However, in this space, there is a general novelty in the space. There's a trade-off you need to make in terms of shipping something that can run at the same time that is secure enough. But the thing is, the toolings are not there. The space is quite young, right? So I'm not trying to shift the blame, but I'm just saying that that we can do much more there, but we can't afford to develop like 3 years out until something's like we are sure that it's correct and there's no security issue. So luckily we recovered from that, and I think the lesson going forward for us is to be able to since now we already have protocol that's live. By the way, if you visit our website, for example, www.superfluid.finance or app.superfluid.finance or docs.superfluid.finance, you can learn a lot about our projects. And so with that, we have already a live product, so we can wait to develop a more mature framework. Meanwhile, just keep the current implementation going, right? So I think now we are at a better spot because we have a little bit more time that we can afford to do a bit deeper research into how to make our program more secure while keep innovating in new technology. That's what I would say. That I can't think of any bigger fuck up than that, but yeah.
And about some wins, what was the best thing that happened to you last year?
I think fundraising is great, and we actually hired a lot of great people. Now we're already a company of almost 20 people. We're going to have offsite next month, and so be great to meet everyone again. Finally, we are quite distributed team at the moment. We have a small cluster in Tallinn and Estonia in general, but we are quite global company. And so the big wins, the hiring, the fundraising, and also we have built 2 community support projects, actually develop a community, because we are a company that build up payment rails for other companies built on top of our technology, right? So we have 2 web pages I can recommend you to have a look. One is called reactor.superfluid.finance. It's our program that's supporting people that building new companies on Superfluid to raise funds. So we help people to raise funds. So we're trying to build a kind of ecosystem. And another one is a kind of successful story showcase of what happened, which is called ecosystem.superfluid.finance. So on both pages you can find the ecosystem that we're trying to build here. So both I think are successful in development in terms of our strategy in general. It's our long run vision that we want to make Superfluid a general payment technology that enables other people to succeed, while we also being part of this kind of innovation. So it's not only about us, but about the people that we enable to succeed on Superfluid.
Yes, don't worry about links. Richard will follow up with all the links, right, after the event.
I can repeat if you don't mind. So our main website is www.superfluid.finance. Our docs, we have a very amazing developer documentation. It can be found at the docs.superfluid.finance. And we also have the main app. You can find it from app.superfluid.finance. You can use it on the Polygon, if you know what is Polygon, and Gnosis Chain, Optimism, Arbitrum, Avalanche, finance, smart chain, you name it. So almost on everything.
I hope your page is not crash right now because there are millions of people watching us online and all of them just went there. So yes.
Oh yeah, we can handle that, no problem.
So
and also the ecosystem.superfluidfinance and the reactor.superfluidfinance. Okay, many things, right?
Amazing, yes. So what about you? Website?
Website, yeah, we have one. Yeah, like our website is StakeWise.io. Of course, we also have like a documentation page, which is docs.stakewise.io. Yeah, and we have like a couple other domains as well for
Okay, but what was
yeah, right. I'll go back to the top. Yeah, so as of the wins and like fuck-ups here, I think like one of the key point for us that we I think missed up a bit was the time to market. We were the second one to be live on Ethereum staking side, and the reason for that was because it took quite long for us to do a security audit for our smart contracts. So it started like early December, and then it lasted until like end of January basically. So because of the holidays and different like different multiple updates to the contracts and reviews. So that's why we lost a bit of a momentum. Then we had to run up to our competitor in terms of the amount of integrations, the amount of e-stake. Yeah, that was kind of one of the, I think, big fuck-ups for us. As of the wins, I think, yeah, I think similarly to Superfluid, the fact that we've got like funding, we are well funded, we can hire more people, we can keep building. Of course, like try to minimize mistakes in terms of what we build. That's very important because like building something wrong costs you money. So you have to be careful and think like what exactly you focus on. Yeah, and the team itself, we are 10 people right now, but we are quite experienced in what we do, like in different fields, starting from front ends, ending up with smart contracts. And yeah, we are looking now for the designer. So we want to build like next version of our UI. Yeah, if you know one of you, if you are, please reach out.
There is a website, jobs.
Yeah, it's you can go to StakeWise. There is a link to jobs, or you can just write to us.
We have also jobs.
It's so fun in this kind of events, but yes. But on this very positive note, what's happening on the market? What's your take on that? Did you change anything in your strategy? Did you change anything in your company? Are you decentralized? Are you about to become decentralized? Miao? No?
So in terms of strategy-wise, we are still very committed to, fully committed to the developer-focused strategy. But at the same time, it's a very slow process, right? Development takes time, and the product go-to-market also takes time, and many of them are very young idea, and many may not work. So we have a very long lead time. So in the meantime, we also provide a vertical solutions for people to do salary payments in streams and subscription type of applications for the merchants. And the change of strategy there is sometimes we have to adapt to the fact that not everyone is adapt to the streaming payment paradigm. Especially if you talk to accountant, they will scratch their head. What do you mean every second that someone receives money? It doesn't compute. So we have to come up with a workaround and at the same time fitting to our technology without breaking away with too much. So that the change of strategy, I would say in few words, is to be able to wrap the experience that as close to the existing workflow as possible for the companies, but without creating an entirely new technology, let's say, but at the same time committing to the long-term view, which is letting developers to develop new technology without eating their pie. right? But in short term, we have to be the leader in terms of the whole new paradigm of payments. So we're pursuing both, but we with a little bit adjustment in terms of in the short term to make the strategy work better for the company ready to adopt Web3 technology.
And I mean, did the crisis influence you? What has been the changes in your organizational structure? Did you have to stop hiring? I mean, like stop hiring or pause, cut costs, or anything like this?
So, what's the most visible change, I guess, from organization perspective is to, especially to adjust to the developer. We have a team development experience, and if there's less, let's say, hackathon events or less developer-oriented events going on, we do have to adjust accordingly. But at the same time, it's very difficult to look beyond a few months of time because, as you may see, that even the market itself is not very clear in terms of is it really a deep bear market or is it just uncertain, right? So we definitely don't put a super bullish view like 6 months before in terms of when it comes to hiring for the developer-related resources. But at the same time, we're not into the deep bear market territory either. So there's some adjustment, but I wouldn't say it's drastic.
And just last question to you. So, given that you understand the market and what's happening, which solutions do you believe will die very soon or will continue surviving? I know that's like very bullish call, but still, will die or the ones that will just plummet? Superfluid will plummet.
What does die mean?
Stop to exist.
Stop to exist.
No particular names, just maybe the market.
I understand. I mean,
We've been recorded.
So the good thing about open source technology is that that's why I was asking to clarify what does die mean. I mean, a lot of things developed in Web3 space, they will exist so long as they have some sort of value. They will exist as code. I mean, even the internet, a lot of pages still exist in the archive somewhere, right? So there's archive. So many things don't just die like that. Especially if they are valuable, they will exist, even if they haven't found a product market fit, if you will, in the startup sense. And the technology that they developed can be reused one way or the other. So I don't think, in strict sense, that many things would just die like that. But what would definitely die is project that can be created over the weekend. I mean, I don't want to name certain projects, but if you think about certain projects simply did one weekend of work with some junior developer or marketers, you can simply have a feeling of what kind of value you are talking about, right? So while I'm talking about a project that takes years to develop, and even if the timing is not right, and because the nature of being open source, I think they will exist one way or the other, if not as a company, but as a technology.
I really like the answer, you know. What about you? What has changed?
You mean from the bear market? Like,
yeah. What changed for your company in the past 6 months and how it influenced your development?
I think like not much changed except our liquidity pool got a bit more illiquid for a bit of a time. That was the reason, like because we have like a staking derivative that should be like 1-to-1 with Ether, but because there is like no way you can withdraw Ether from ETH2 right now, there is like a secondary market for that, and because of that, because of the bear market, there were a bit of a discount for our token. So it was not like 1-to-1, but you were actually selling it for like a 5% discount for some time. As of now, it's like much less, but up until ETH2 will announce like withdrawals, or actually not announce, but will will like release the hard fork for the withdrawals from the validators, there will be sort of a discount. But after that, you can easily fix that. So, but as of the company, we continue existing as we are right now. We continue hiring. Nothing changed. We continue building. There is a lot of problems that are very hard for that specific area, because like the reason is that Ethereum proof of stake is like very different from proof of stake of other chains, and it's quite hard. It's actually, there is no fully decentralized liquid staking protocol as of now, and that's something that's like considered as a holy grail in that area, and that's something we are aiming for, and we feel that we are getting closer to having like a fully decentralized solution with like slashing protection in place, with different problems that if you stake on Ethereum, you are facing. Yeah, and we are working towards that solution, no matter what's the ETH price is. But of course, like we still kind of see we're tracking the interest from the users, and of course there are some fluctuations in terms of the token prices when like there is a bad time in market.
And opposite to the question asked before, what actual products are on your watch list? Who are you following? What are your favorite, I don't know, ideas or products already?
Yeah, I think
Superfluid, right?
Superfluid. I'm following them every day. That's for sure.
They use our room for free.
Yeah, for sure. And there are, I think there are like many projects like. Well, yeah, basically because I'm just mostly following the projects we plan to integrate with, like looking through their code. That's probably like the top 10 DeFi projects out there, like lending protocols, also like call strategies, and like some other like projects specific to the staking space, like different node operators. How do they perform like the development of Ethereum, those kind of things. But in general, I think there is still a lot of opportunity, and I think there is especially interesting projects in infrastructure level. Like we have a lot of L2s right now. We have like this L1 competition as well, and it's very, you can see like more and more talents join infrastructure level, and like more and more interesting solutions are emerging there with like cool cryptography solution like ZK Snarks and rollups and many things. And of course there is NFT space. Unfortunately, I'm not like following a lot because there is not much in intersection between like staking and art. Maybe at some point in the future. But I think there is a lot of interesting projects out there, especially like also not only for the NFT part. But yeah, I think like top DeFi projects, this is the ones I'm following because we have integrated with them, or we are looking to integrate with them at some point in the future.
It's super interesting, and I would really love you to ask questions if you have any. But before we actually proceed, I mean, I have a question to you. How many of you are working in Web3 except for Superfluid team? Okay, amazing. Now, question to you: how do you hire? Who do you hire? When you're looking at people, is it important for you that person understands the market or has worked in the market, or you're okay with educating them?
I start. Okay. I think first it depends on the role. If it's like someone for the Solidity development, for example, we're really looking to people like persons interest in different like projects, how they work, what experience he has like in blockchain, in writing Solidity code. That's very important. As of any other field, I think. Yeah, I think in general, we first look into the expertise in that specific area, be it like front end, back end, or specific language. The second is like how person is interested in that field. Is it just because of like money, or is it like really has interest in that specific area, and he sees the future in that as well. So and of course like different factors like how he fits into the team, what's the like location, how many like time zone differences you have, like basically the things you need to consider when you hire someone.
What about you?
Depends on the area for sure. I'm speaking of the more of the developer-oriented. Let's say there are. I think the first, the most important thing is the cultural aspect, fit in terms of Web3 culture. To first actually believe in what it stands for in the longer term. Especially that in a bull market, you might get people that simply believe in the short-term opportunity. In a slightly less bullish market, you tend to get a better selection in a sense. So people that are having the belief in the Web3 success in the long run, that's something has to be a must. I would personally, I would emphasize less on hiring for the future people is the existing Web3 experience. Sometimes I would even think it is baggage even. So some people maybe started their early career, junior career simply as a Web3 developer. I think, personally, I think it's a baggage, I would say. So especially for more senior positions, I would prefer people that has a little bit more diverse background, but they come into the industry because they really believe in something. We have some hires recently for like that, or it's like they had experience before and they just want to be in the Web3 industry, and I think that works the best as opposed to simply starting Web3. Like, I think that kind of limited the view of the world per se. That's for the practical side. Now that we are a lot of our remote work, right? So you mentioned time zone. I kind of agree. Sometimes people may think, oh, we can now hire everywhere. Maybe time zone is not an issue, but in practice, anyone from the West Coast side of the US for European people is still a bit difficult. So I would say that's a harder problem to solve. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people, talented people also from that side of the world. So that's something that I was hoping that the Europe side can have more talents coming up. And incidentally, a lot of our Ethereum events are in the Europe side, as we have all the ETH events in Europe, ETH Warsaw, ETH Berlin, which is in September, and ETH Lisbon, Paris, whichever. There's a lot of it in Europe. So I would say that there are a lot of people who could hire also from Europe. Yeah.
And question to you, actually, you mentioned philosophy, culture, everything around Web3. What are the demands that your contributors have for you, your employees? As in, do they want you to become more decentralized? Do they want you to turn into a DAO or something like this?
Right. There is always a lot of demand, like from a lot of users, especially like we are DAO already. We are governed, by on chain with our token, which is called SaltoX. And in general, like a lot of there's a lot of initiatives from the users. It's just a matter that we need to somehow filter out the ones that are more important and the ones that we can really keep an eye on. For example, right now, one of the examples, we are transitioning into the post-merge version. So basically, there's like a lot of more that validators need to do except to before merge and after merge. And there is a lot of like, you get also as a validator higher APR on your staked Ether. And basically we, as a core team, we listed different options that the protocol can take in terms of our way forward with those rewards and how exactly we actually what we do with them, like be it like compound them, be it like distribute them, like what else. And there were like a lot of different interesting opinions that were proposed by the users or by projects that are outside of StakeWise. And it's actually like very good way of like getting a feedback from specific feature or field in the protocol that you need to like integrate, and users kind of contribute to that. You become like a large team with your community by having like a way of getting some feedback from them.
So I think, okay, I will first tell a joke. Decentralization is the future, so we'll do it in the future. But as a culture-wise, I think we do believe that we need decentralize as much as progress possible. I meant as a joke. I'm not saying that we don't take decentralization.
Or laughed.
I think there's difficulties, and if we, in our case, we do have to push the solutions to some of the business, which not all the business value that part of the aspect of the movement, and so we sometimes need to take a more practical take on it. But at the same time, your question was about what about the employees, or what do they think about it? Yeah. So the fact that we're hiring people that are in the Web3 culture in general, so there is a general alignment internally in the company about having decentralization as a goal, no matter how long it takes. But that's the goal we are working towards. That's not something that we'll forget about. Yeah.
It's really nice to hear. Do we have any questions from the audience? Yeah, okay, I will be running around with a microphone, but we made it, survived 40 minutes, right? Amazing.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for a great event. My question is, what are the biggest challenges for you to build Web3 solutions when you see that governments are changing their regulations all the time in every country?
Like for us, I think decentralization is the key. It's in the future and the key as well. So the more you build like solution decentralized, the way that it can exist without you intercepting it into it, like without like government basically taking over it by, I don't know, like shutting down your backend, by shutting down your front end. You can like deploy your front end on, I don't know, IPFS, or like fully run on the smart contracts. It's pretty hard for someone to shut down your project because it's popular. People gonna find it, people gonna use it, or people gonna like redeploy it in case, I don't know, in case it stops working or needs upgrade. So I think it's building the community, building it decentralized, engaging the community, and yeah, just try to build as better solution as you can.
So I have actually long thought about this for quite a long time. I have a very personal view on it. Is that I think what we don't like is a monopoly of the regulation. Not that we don't like regulation, and the fact the government is doing it is because it's a monopoly force over the regulation. I think that's something that we should understand. Is there is a need for regulation, but not necessarily the government. So if we don't do regulation per se, if no one does it, and the government will come and say, okay, no one is taking responsibility of this trust issue, then they will take the default power. So I think for the Web3 movement, has to really understand that there is a need for trust amongst people. And if we don't do enough, if we all YOLO, we all like Do Kwang and just lose people's money, I mean, someone will come and someone will come and regulate you, right? So I think the importance to understand that we don't like a monopoly of a regulation, not that we don't like regulation. And I think we should do better as a community to provide a better system that everyone can thrive in the system, not creating a system that some people simply got repulsed from it. And that's not a healthy environment, and that's inviting the government regulation. So my view is really that we should do better at making an environment more healthy, more inviting for more people to join, so that government don't have a reason to regulate you. And we don't like the monopoly, right? So.
Yeah, I guess, thanks. It's been fun. So my question is to Miao. I do get the idea of like instant cash flow distribution, and I totally believe that model is feasible. But looking at it from like a futuristic perspective, what kind of other composable values you could see could be applicable to this type of model, or like logic and industries where you could apply this tech in the future, besides like finance and stuff like this? Thanks.
there's many part of the question. So I think the part that people as a secondary effect when they come to Superfluid is about the composability. So the fact that you can receive, let's say, salary from your employer every second is just first level. The second level is that once you receive every second, you can invest in something else every second. And that comes with in general, when the Web3 movement becomes even more broad reach to everyday part of life, that becomes a very powerful primitive that you can invest the money you receive every second into something else. So that's first about the composability, to be able to compose the connect money in real time. In terms of outside of finance, can you clarify a bit? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, like I mean, the concept itself is kind of revolutionary, you know. But now you kind of applied this to the cash flow with tech that is available today, thanks to blockchain and stuff like this. But I'm thinking, where could that be actually applied else, you know? And maybe you have thought of it as well. Like value per second delivery, so composable value, as you say.
Yeah, I probably still with finance related about the things like real world assets registry, right? So triggered by a condition that if you paid enough due and then the assets changes register the owner or something. But it's still finance, right? So I'm not quite sure I follow. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Anyone has a question?
Hi, yes, thank you for this introduction. Probably my question is more for Superfluid, but Dmitri can also answer. Basically about the fuck up. Of course, you cannot go maybe into details, but what kind of advice you can give to the Web3 community here or anywhere about this fuck up you had?
Maybe I can bounce back to Dmitri how they did an audit at the no fuck up so far.
Well, we just found a good auditor, to be honest. Well, that's one thing. I don't know. It's pretty hard to build something, build it fast, and with no fuck-ups, to be honest. It's always a chance that you have it. You can minimize it by testing it properly, by, I don't know, like spending a lot of time on test nets. Well, that's what happened with us. We had like a lot of test nets. We had like very thorough audits ongoing, and like 100% test coverage for our code, like fast testing, like different sort of testing you can do for the code. And yeah, I think in general there is no kind of path. Like if you go this way, you're like 100% protected from fuck ups. There is always a chance that could happen. You can always like minimize it. There is a different like insurance protocols that you can use that can like insure your users. Basically, if you're a user, if you're building like a DeFi project, you can go with like Nexus Mutual, for example, and tell them like, can you insure my users? And yeah, they have like a solution for that, so that every user that wants to make sure that their tokens are not like stolen or like they don't lose their funds, then they have like insurance for that.
So now that I've thought about it a bit, so I think a couple of practical points I could do is first, comparing to 2 years ago when the project was started, the tooling in the Ethereum environment definitely has matured. So there are more tooling you can use now. There are much better fuzzing tools. If you are really pedantic, you can even use some of the formal verification frameworks, but your code base might not be ready for that. But if you have enough time and you have the expertise, you could definitely tap into that. And also, Bounties is something that we set up after the hack. that so we basically set up a thing. We currently have 100K for a critical bug for white hats, right? So if anyone found a bug, they could claim the 100K instead of stealing money. So that's another way. Insurance could be a route, but I don't see good option yet. We haven't set an insurance pool, but we do have. We use Immunify. It's not a practical suggestion, so we use that for setting up this kind of bug bounties. And better development process. I would say if you have a very good auditor, great, good for you. But if you don't have, you have to have some solution for yourself. You have to have the ability to be able to reason what is a correct program. So you have to have the mindset in the first place. The second is the skill set also. Right? So some developers are more trained regarding how to write good tests and good fuzzing-based test or quick check or whichever type of test you think is good for you. And if your type of program allows, maybe form of verification also can help with your program, but not everything.
Just adding to that, the more eyes you get on your code, the better, like the more chances you have that fuck-ups.
Okay, we have 3 more questions, and I think we can allocate time for the 4th one, but then we'll go in, okay? So.
Yo, thanks for sharing. Question for both of you. What's one of the most interesting and challenging risks ahead of you, apart of war and COVID, etc., individually for each of the businesses? If any. No rush.
And you can take your time. We might ask more questions. Come back to it.
I mean, in our case, because we do want to make a new paradigm shift in terms of payment in general, and that means touching a lot of aspects of the business workflows. And the biggest risk is that we are very early, right? So that's kind of the biggest risk. Being a startup, at some point we have to, make the inevitable revenue model path work, right? But at the same time, we're in the Web3, so we are building an infrastructure. In Web3, there are, at least in the bull market, there are different ways of how to make the protocol become a public good and stuff like that, and release, tokens, something like that. But we don't have a token, so no more question about a WEN token, I guess, today. And we really fully focus on getting the technology to its full potential. And that means we are risking that we might be taking too long for the people to believe in us. We have a lot of people believing in us, but for how long? That's the question, right? So that's the biggest risk. So, but we do want to engage with the investor that believe in the long-term story of Superfluid.
Yeah, I think for us it's the decisions we make in terms of the product development. It's like the biggest risk that you take the path that is not correct, or you end up in like you believe that something is worth doing and you will proceed to that, but in the end it won't get traction. Especially now we are in a phase where our product is quite successful already right now, and there is like 2 ways we can take. One is like keep maintaining it, or as we have like an idea how to build it better, and unfortunately you can't build it on top, you have to build from scratch. We take this path. So it's either you take a risk or you keep maintaining what you already have, and taking the risk and building something which is better and actually will turn out, let's say that it's not getting traction. That's the risk.
Thank you. Question here. Okay.
Yeah, hello. Thank you so much for being there and answering this question, guys. My question will be to StakeWise and to Dmitri. So I was checking your website before. Hello, by the way, we work together. My question will be about the product itself. So I visited your website before actually coming here, and I saw the
APR there. It was 3.96%. I also noticed 10% fee, staking fee. So my question is, given the inflation rates, annual inflation rates, other investment options, what is the added value of StakeWise? How do you guys attract customers and maintain them at the same time? And how do you convince them not to use other investment options and use your product? Thank you.
Yeah, that would be a good question on our Discord channel. Why do they join us? But in general, our yield that we provide is on Ether. So it's more than for believers that you're gonna appreciate in price with time, and it's like it's protected from inflation. That, like some people say, it's kind of like, so yeah, basically if you believe in it, you believe that it's gonna appreciate in price. If you are a long-term holder, staking is one of the safest option for you, especially post-merge. You're gonna get priority fees. So every time you, like someone submits the transaction, you pay like extra gas for making your transaction confirm faster. So that fee goes to the validators. And plus there is also like maximum extractable value, which is called like MEV, where basically there is like different additional like ways that you can group the transactions and extract like additional. So for example, there are some other users that pay additional fees to make sure their transaction is executed before like certain other transaction. So that also goes to the validator. So that should increase APR. But mostly people, like our main like customers are people who or like funds who are long-term on ETH, and they want to receive like stable APR on top of it. And like staking ETH is then like one of the options there.
One more question right here, and I think you're done, right?
So thank you so much for your, opinions and insights, I would say. Let me put it to a really simple question. Do you guys plan to go to Tennessee or Wyoming?
Are they the same place?
Oh, Tennessee and it's a state in the U.S., right? Those are two states, and they legalize DAO. So what's your thoughts on legalization of a DAO? What are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on those?
What does legalized DAO mean?
Well, basically, you are registered in the system as a legal entity. So, what can I say? DAO is nothing at the same time. It's something. So no government entities are recognizing DAO as a legal entity at the moment. By registering your DAO or any service providing thing, then you will be recognized as a regulated legal entity. Do you guys plan to do so in the future, or decentralization is the future? You don't want to be regulated by any government entities. Like, what are your thoughts? Maybe that was too much.
Yeah, was it Denver where they? Okay. Well, I personally totally like support any government kind of adoption of anything related to Web3. Like especially I think DAO, and of course like we as a DAO, StakeWise DAO, we would definitely wanna explore like opportunities to kind of legalize ourselves, and I hope like Estonian government at some point will support that as well. Yeah, and I think in general I see like a huge value in DAOs. I see that like the openness, the community participation, that like if you build it properly, you can basically have users work for the product itself because they use it. They see the parts that are not like that could be improved, and that's just a great way of doing that. It's pretty hard to do that in a normal company, I would say. Like you can't just like go to the Facebook office and start like building something there. Probably you need to join their team first. But yeah, I think with DAOs, it will, especially like legalized DAOs, it will open much more opportunities for people to contribute to the projects they are mostly interested in.
Yeah, so I think all these kind of legal tourism are interesting to hear more story about it. Personally take a bit more conservative view on waiting and see, right? Because for Puerto Rico had a lot of legal tourists because they specifically did exchange that people go there would have less income tax, blah blah. So I would view it in general as a legal tourism, and depends how stable the government, the state government in that case, is, and maybe after a few years, let's see if they change, sides, change color, and see what happens. So yeah, I personally wouldn't be the first one, so maybe it takes time.
Thank you very much for this amazing hour. I think it's a really great contribution to the community, and everyone who wants to get the content or access our previous events, you can go to our Discord channel and just check it there. It will all be there. I think we now can slowly proceed to the mingling area and so stay, talk, get to know each other. But again, thank you a lot. I think it was really, really nice.